Jerod, short week to prepare for Miami. How much is that just condensed stuff for you? Do you have to be more urgent with your preparation?
How? Said it again. I couldn't hear you all the way.
When you have a short week like this, only for the Thursday night game, do you have to be more urgent with your preparation? How do you go about getting ready for a game like this?
It's my first turnaround of my collegiate career, so I'm pretty sure Coach Fuente will make sure that we're very urgent in what we're doing for as preparation, studying, film study, out on the practice field and all that. So this is my first go-around, so I'll see how that goes. I'm really not for sure. I'm pretty urgent regardless of quick turnaround or not, but we'll see.
Hey, Jerod, did Syracuse do anything defensively that you hadn't seen an awful lot of in the first 5 games? And what was Sunday like sort of reviewing that game? Was it more frustrating to look at everything and make you angry watching it, or was it just sort of a learning experience?
I don't think they did anything that I haven't seen. Again, I play against our defense all the time, so they didn't show me anything new. They try to cheat to Isaiah a lot more and try to disguise that a little bit more. It got me a couple of times, but then I started to see it better, and I started going to Isaiah more when I started trying to hit him. But no, it was nothing different. And when looking at it, I mean, when you don't win a game, it's always frustrating. Again, there's some certain things that I could have done extremely better, that I know that I could have done better, that I didn't do. So, I mean, you got to live with the results. It's over with now, so can't deal with the past.
Jerod, you've had some success running the ball, but the rest of the running backs seem like they've kind of been a little inconsistent. Do you feel like that's the case? And if so, how has that affected the offense, not having a consistent running game?
I don't know how to answer that. I don't know how to answer that. Yeah, I don't know how to answer that.
Raise your hands. We'll get you the mic. Andy.
I don't know how much you've seen or heard about Thursday night games in Lane, but are you excited to play in an atmosphere like that on kind of a primetime game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to play in Lane. If it's a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, so having the Hokies fans behind us is definitely going to be exciting to actually play another home game. Been away from home for a couple of weeks, so that's going to be exciting. A primetime game I've already been in one with Bristol, so I mean, yeah, it's going to be exciting to have the fans behind us.
Raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone. Questions for Jerod. The back.
Jerod, you seem to have a pretty good rapport with Chris Cunningham when you guys get close to the goal line. Is he become somebody you kind of feel like you can rely on when you get a little close like that?
Not to rely on, no. If the man's open, he's open. I don't look for somebody in particular. I mean, it all dictates to what the play call is. If we have fades on the goal line, I look for certain matchups. I look for certain coverages. And whoever has the best matchup, whoever has the best coverage or dictates the coverage, if they're trying to double Isaiah, then I'm going the opposite way and finding Cam or Bucky. If we on the goal line and we have different packages, then I look for my reads for as how we have it set up. So I wouldn't say when he's in there it dictates to who I throw it to, but my reads dictate and the coverage dictates to who I throw it to. It just so happens Chris Cunningham right now.
Do you feel like you have a good rapport there with Chris?
Oh yeah, I have good chemistry with all the guys that I'm throwing to.
Have you had a chance to look at Miami's defense on tape yet? And if so, what have you seen that stands out about their defense?
I have not seen them yet. Yesterday was my first time actually looking at film, and that was not even on them. It was over Syracuse and us. Today, I will definitely be watching them, but just watching them on TV, they're very tenacious on the front line, the front four. Have great athletes. that's what jumps out to me. But I'll be watching film on them today.
After the loss to Syracuse, what's the kind of the mood and the atmosphere around the team right now?
We let one slip away, but we can't think about it. That's the mood. We definitely let one slip away that we shouldn't have. But like I said, we have great leadership on this team, and all we can do is move forward. I mean, that was in the past. Just like UNC, we won. We have to move on. This game, Syracuse, we got to move on. So we got a Thursday night game against Miami.
Jerod, you obviously, as a team, bounced back really well from the Battle at Bristol loss. It was disappointing like this. I mean, are there lessons from that you can take this week and say, hey, remember what Monday was like or Tuesday was like after that game?
Most definitely. You got the leads on the team, making sure that we don't sit and sulk in the loss, so that we have great leadership to make sure that we learn from the mistakes and make sure we learn the lesson out of that loss that we had against Syracuse.
Jerod, as far as practice, I know you guys talked about how the practice wasn't good leading up to Tennessee. Were there any issues as far as practice leading up to Syracuse that you felt like it was a good or bad practice week?
No, I don't think it was bad. Not at all. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was bad.
You talked about kind of moving on after the North Carolina game. Do you think that you guys didn't perhaps do a good enough job of that? That sometimes it's maybe easier to move on after a loss than it is after success?
I think we moved on. That game, we were so hungry, and we was hungry for this game, but it was more of we had to bring our own juice. We had to bring our own energy, our own emotion, and this is a very team-oriented sport, and when you have some guys, most guys bringing in, some guys not, then that can lead to certain things. So it was for as bringing our own stuff, we as a unit didn't bring it all the way, and that was kind of the case going to Syracuse.
Thank you, Jerod. Appreciate it.
Ken, I don't know exactly how you feel physically coming out of that game, but to play a percentage of 100 snaps on defense, then come around in a short week, how difficult is that physically to make that turnaround?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's that tough physically. I mean, our off-season preparation kind of helped us with that, just being able to recover. And, our strength and conditioning staff does a good job of us in the day after the game and getting our bodies right and, stretching and rolling out and making sure all the bad blood's out and that our bodies are good to go come the first practice.
Ken, you guys have lost since the start of 2013, 9 straight games when you've given up 100 yards rushing to an opposing quarterback. I know they're not doing the same thing every time. Every team's not doing the same thing, obviously. But what is it about running quarterbacks that you guys just can't quite get your arms around?
Well, I mean, I think our just DBs do, just stay on the wide receivers for a really long time. And, definitely with Syracuse's wide receivers in particular, you got to stay on those guys because that QB can scramble out and pass it on them. They can get a big gain on that. So our DBs did, a pretty good job trying to stick with the wide receivers. And when that happens and running lanes open for the quarterback, he can escape and could hurt us for a big gain. So I think that's one of the main reasons why that opens up so much on our defense. But yeah, it's definitely is a concern on us.
Ken, was there something that their front five did that kind of slowed you guys down the front four as far as their blocking schemes or anything like that that prevented you from getting to the quarterback a little more freely?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of run-pass options, so, not they ran the ball, but also, I mean, the quarterback had the option of pulling it and throwing it, so, and the quarterback didn't really keep the ball in his hands for too long, so, I think we got a decent amount of hits on him, and, he was a little banged up during the game, but, he battled through it and had a hell of a game, but, yeah, I mean, it was just a pretty quick passing scheme, so that definitely helped their offensive line out.
After a loss like that to an unranked team on the road, what's the atmosphere and the mood around the team right now?
Well, I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, we just got to have a short-term memory, just put this one behind us and move on to Miami, especially since it's a short week. We just got to keep it moving on, and, we can't let this one hurt us moving forward. So, I don't think everybody's spirits are really damaged. I think we still have one goal in mind, and that's going 1-0 each week. So we got to bring in when Miami comes into town.
Questions for Ken? Looking back in the room, back to Jerod Evans. Ken, with that in mind, how critical do you see Thursday's game with Miami coming off a loss in the ACC? Just how critical is this game?
I mean, it's very critical. I mean, in any ACC opponent, it's pretty. It's like a championship game. I think we just can't just hype it up in our minds. We got to take it one game at a time, like I said before, and just got to focus on going 1-0. But yeah, I mean, any team, any ACC opponent, especially Miami, who's given us troubles in the past, and is a big rival of ours. This is a big game.
Anything else for Ken? Andrew?
I know you don't necessarily match up directly against him, but what are your thoughts on Kaya? I've seen him a couple times now in the past couple of years.
I've always been impressed with him, especially when he was a true freshman and he came in town 2 years ago. He's very composed in the pocket. He's calm in the pocket, and pretty good pocket passer, and just does a good job of leading his troops and all of that. So I got a lot of respect for him. I think he's a pretty high caliber quarterback.
Tuapuaka's having. I know a lot of you guys struggled defensively this past weekend, but overall, looking at Tuapuaka, he's having his best season statistically thus far. What have you seen from him this season that's sort of different when you look at it? I know obviously you can't watch him in the game, but what do you see when you see him on film that's different, or even in the locker room?
I think experience is the best teacher. So, after 1 year of starting, he just got to see everything, and everything started slowing down. And in this off season, he's been really pushing himself, and he's been running with a skill group, which is one group faster than he's supposed to be in. But he's been in really good fitness, and he does a really good job in practice, just flying around, and he's playing with a lot of energy. So, and it's been really paying off for him this season, and he's just been doing a good job of leading us out there and making the communication really well and all of that. So I'm really proud of him, how he's developed from year one to year two.
Ken, is there any talk about the last time Miami came to Lane Stadium and blew out the Hokies 2 years ago? I know you were on that team. Is there any talk among the leadership of this team that was there 2 years ago? Any sort of revenge factor, or is it just focused on this Miami team?
I think we definitely do owe these guys, So, we got to bring it with when coming this Thursday. But, we can't be bigger than it actually is, and keep everybody's heads really level. So, I think we definitely owe them, and we definitely got to bring it come Thursday.
Ken, what's the relationship between the Edmonds brothers on the practice field or around the locker room? Do they have sort of a rapport with each other that goes beyond the typical teammate stuff, or do they have a little bit of a sibling rivalry? How would you describe that?
They, I mean, I think they have a good rapport with each other. You know, there's always, they definitely talk the most out of everybody in the backfield between two people. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool just seeing those two guys, you know, line up on the same side of the ball and just, you know, be able to get after it and, you know, just tandem tackles. I think it was pretty cool. But, yeah, I mean, they, obviously a lot of great chemistry between those two, just naturally. But, yeah, I think they're two high-quality human beings and players.
You've played a couple of these spread, hurry-up offenses the last couple of weeks. I know you're used to that on the field. Is it nice maybe defensively to play, for lack of a better term, a normal offense again this week?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, going against a high-paced offense is just tiring, and, you know, you're not be able to stay on the field as long. And there's less amount of plays, but yeah, I mean, it's nice to change it up a little bit. You know, going from UNC and Syracuse to, you know, Miami, where it's a little bit more slower pace. But it's, I mean, just got to face them the same.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it.
You had a nice game statistically Saturday, but Jerod was saying that they were shading to you a little bit more than what you're used to, or have you seen defenses do that kind of thing quite a bit, just maybe not this season?
I think actually we've been getting a pretty good bit of it. Last year we got some towards the end of the season, and from the Tennessee game, and then a couple of times after that we've been getting a good amount as well. So, I mean, it's not really anything that I'm not used to.
And then after what Miami did to you guys a couple of years ago here, what does this game mean to you?
It just means that it's the next game on the season, on the schedule. Excuse me. This is the biggest game because it's the next game, and we know that we have to prepare. We have a short turnaround, so we have to get ready by Thursday.
Isaiah, that was obviously a disappointing loss. What was the mood of this team yesterday when you guys gathered for practice and film review?
I feel like the team handled it very professionally. We all knew that we would let one slip away Saturday, but we can't hang our heads on that because Miami's coming to town this week, and whether we like it or not, they're going to be ready to play. And if we mope around in practice this week and we come out to play Thursday, then we're going to get our tails kicked in front of our fans, and we don't want that to happen. So everyone was determined to get better in the lifts and the runs and watching film in every aspect of the game yesterday.
You guys talk a lot about that going 1-0 every week, and after the North Carolina game, obviously there was a ton of hype being put on to you guys. Do you think that maybe that past week leading up to Syracuse, you didn't do as good a job of that 1-0 mentality as maybe you had been earlier in the year?
I wouldn't say that. I think that our coaches did a fantastic job of trying to prepare us for Syracuse, and I feel like we had a pretty good week of preparation for Syracuse and focusing only on Syracuse. So I don't know what it was. Well, I do actually. They outplayed us, and that's just what happened. So.
Isaiah, what gets cut out when you have a short week like this? Like, what don't you do that you normally would?
We try to fit everything that we usually do in the regular week. We kind of like really just focus on the little things more than anything. Try to smush it all down into doing maybe some things that we'd do Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll just do it on Tuesday, and try to shorten it down like that, and get our legs fresh and just things like that.
What have you maybe seen from Miami so far in film, if you've been able to watch them yet, and how do they compare defensively to Syracuse?
They're really athletic across the board. Their D-line they have a bunch of animals down there. Their linebackers, they have two true freshman linebackers that are actually really good, and their secondary is experienced. We know Cornelder on the corner. He's a big-time corner. So it'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a big test for us.
Jerod said just a few minutes ago that he didn't feel like the entire team really brought it and didn't have the energy really needed. What do you think really leads to that?
I'll take that as my fault because as a leader, I really don't speak up as much, but I like to show my actions, and I guess that's just me not making enough plays, and that's something that I'll take on my shoulders, and I'll try to make sure that we don't have that excuse this Thursday. And I'll go out there and try to make as many plays as I can and try to rally my team and kind of give us a momentum shift.
Isaiah, being a known commodity now out on the field, you're not going to surprise anybody, so you are going to start to see a lot more double coverages. Are you doing anything different in your preparation now compared to the last couple of years, and if so, what?
Just focusing on every little detail. Like you said, when there's going to be double coverages, you have to be very precise in every little movement, no wasted movements, and be very, very detailed in your route running and in your breaks and attacking the ball with your hands and things like that. So just really focusing on the little details.
Isaiah, you mentioned that if you're not focused, you could lose in front of your fans. I'm curious, like a game 2 years ago when you lost in front of your home fans in that way. How is that different from, say, last Saturday, losing in somebody else's place? Do you feel some sort of I don't know, like you owed people something that you didn't give them, or do you feel like you're going to get more criticism that way when they're actually there watching you, or how do you feel?
No, I don't. I think I take every loss the same. I'm probably the biggest sore loser on this planet, and anyone in our locker room will tell you, whether it's playing ping pong or pool or anything like that, I always want to win. So we always take losing the same way, whether it's home or away.
Anything else for Isaiah? Okay, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
Obviously, coming off a tough performance last week, again, credit to Bowling Green. I mean, he used to be at Bowling Green, excuse me. Credit to Syracuse, Coach Babers, for the job that they did. Had a good meeting yesterday. Kids got out and ran and lifted, and a good little team meeting. And don't have much time to dwell on that. Got to move forward. It's the same thing, same message we would have had we won the ball game. We've got to turn the page and get ready to go. We've got a very talented Miami team coming into town for what should be a great atmosphere on a Thursday night. I've heard quite a bit about Thursday nights in Blacksburg, Virginia. I'm looking forward to taking part in it. Confident our kids will be ready to go. We've got a long way to go and a short time to get there, and a lot of work to get done this week.
Mm-hmm. You were 3-0 on short weeks at Memphis. Is there a secret to it at all, or is it something you can carry
Oh, if there's anything to it, it's that at TCU, as an assistant, we played on, in my 5 years there, I don't know how many, but a bunch of Thursday nights. And I paid close attention to how we went about things there. So at least I had formulated an opinion about how I wanted to do it when we got to Memphis. Obviously, as we got better at Memphis, then we got more of those Thursday opportunities. We had better teams as we were there a little bit longer. So, the thing I would say is I don't know if there's a secret to it. I know a bunch of people do it a bunch of different ways. We at least have conviction about, or I have conviction about how I would like to do it in terms of planning the week, just because I've been through it a few times.
Coach, what did you see out of Syracuse that maybe you weren't expecting? Did they catch you off guard with anything that they did, whether it be offensively or defensively?
No, they ran their offense and their defense and executed it at a high level. Our kids played hard. We didn't play well enough, and there wasn't a huge schematic difference in anything. It's just a little bit of execution that they executed at a little bit higher level than we did.
Jerod said that the entire team didn't really bring enough energy against Syracuse. Is that something that you agree with, and what do you think maybe leads to that?
Oh, I think I would take everything our guys say in terms of evaluating our team with a grain of salt, first and foremost, whether it's an X's and O's evaluation of the other team or an assessment of our mental state. We had good energy on the field. Our guys played hard. When you watch the film, they played with good toughness and great effort. I would say as a whole, and that would be offensively, defensively, special teams-wise, coaches, players, everyone, we didn't execute at a level high enough to win the game. That's obvious. But I don't think there's some deep, I like our guys. Our guys were there for one reason, to take care of business. We didn't get that done, but, we had emotion and we played hard.
Trayvon and Marshawn had a combined 15 touches against Syracuse. Any issues with play calling at all in that game, or were either of those guys hurt, or did the game kind of get out of the mode where you would want to use those guys for?
No. Nobody was hurt. No issue with play calling. No.
Would you like to get those guys more touches? Or?
Well, I don't. The whole touches deal is beyond me. I don't subscribe to it. I don't really care. I'd like for us to run the ball efficiently. I'd like for us to throw the ball efficiently. If that's 10 carries or 15 carries or 25 carries, I don't really care. I'd like for us to execute our entire offense at a higher level, whether that's at quarterback or offensive line or tailback or wide receiver.
Do you have to be wary in a short week of working these guys too much, certainly on defense where they're coming off a game with 100 snaps on the field?
Yeah, I would say twofold. One, I think having gone through it helps judge those things. When we did it at TCU, we did it a couple different ways, which allowed me to kind of see the different ways to do it and formulate my own opinion. But absolutely, your job is to get them to Thursday feeling good physically and knowing what to do. And, that's the balance you've got on a short week is how to get them, how to balance practice so that they do know what to do out there, but they also feel good.
Back over to Travis.
Coach, I just want to ask you about the search for consistency as a head coach. You look across the country, the way games go, and people will say there's great parity, and while that's probably true, is that maybe the biggest challenge as a head coach, is just finding consistency when you're talking about 18, 19, 20-year-old kids?
Yeah, it's certainly one of them. I think there's several factors to that. One, there is a lot of equality through college football. There's a couple teams that are that are maybe heads and shoulders above everybody else, and then there are a bunch of people that are fighting and scratching and clawing to kind of climb that ladder. I think the other thing that I see is you used to be removed from much of that. You could remove your team from much of that communication, and that's just not the world we live in anymore. It used to be much easier to insulate them from all of the talk or chatter and all the things that come along with that. That's virtually impossible. Whereas as a coach, you used to just keep them away from it. Now you should, at least in my opinion, continually address how to handle it, because you can't keep them away from it. It's all over the place. So, I think that's difficult. It's hard to do. It's hard on everybody. It's not just kids. It's hard on adults. Everybody likes to feel good and have good things said about you, but you've got to understand that it ultimately comes down to your performance every Saturday.
Coach, one of the interesting things you said Saturday night was that it seemed like Syracuse was always falling forward a little bit, and that's not what you guys look like normally. And you said effort didn't seem to be a problem. I would agree with that. I mean, it looked like they were playing hard, but so is that they're just like a touch out of position than where they normally are, or how? What do you?
Yeah, I would say that. I'd say that that's, you're spread all over the field like Sunday's wash, and a half a step either way can sometimes be a difference. And that was the feeling I got watching the film. It wasn't that we weren't there. We got hit on a double move and a trick play, but it was all the other plays. To me, we were just not as on top of it as we had been in the last couple games, and that's everywhere. Even the plays that should have been easy for us offensively weren't easy. We maybe made them, but it was a struggle. It was just everything was a little. Same thing on special teams. Everything was just a little off. And what I don't want to do is take credit away from Syracuse and Coach Babers, because I think they did a great job.
Coach, you've talked all year about keeping your guys not too high and too low, keeping them even keel. How hard is that to keep them kind of even keel for a game on Thursday night against a team that came in here 2 years ago and had a pretty big win?
Well, I think our guys will be excited to play. I think they're understanding kind of my mode of operation on a weekly basis and becoming accustomed to that. And I'm confident that we'll be not just mentally ready to play, but emotionally ready to play and handle it and go play, the way we should.
Looking at Matuapuaka, on the whole, statistically, he's having his best season thus far since he's been here. And I understand he's been running with the defensive backs and drills and things since, springtime, or maybe since the beginning of August. Was that your idea when you first got here? Did you think he needed more speed or something like that? Or did he need to run with those guys? Or was it Bud's idea or Coach Hilgard's?
I don't know.
It
wasn't mine. My take on Andrew is he's prepared and acted like an adult ever since I've been here. I know Andy wrote a deal about him maybe living his life a little bit differently. I don't know much about that, but I just know in my time here, he's just done everything we've ever asked him to do in terms of continuing to work hard and lead and practice hard. And I think, playing last year has probably helped that. Some experience, understanding, even just becoming more comfortable, I think has helped him play better this year. But he's had a good summer too in terms of conditioning and running. And but no, I didn't come to him and ask him to train with the safeties or anything like that.
Coach, as a head coach, do you like that extra challenge of preparing for a short week against another head coach?
Well, I always enjoy the challenge every week, but the short weeks are certainly different. As I told my wife when I got home, it's going to be a long, short week, and that's just the way it is. But we've got two hungry football teams going to play out here. They're very well coached. Obviously, have a fine tradition and history, as do we, and everybody in our program is looking forward to it.
Anything else, Coach? Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank y'all.
Raise your hand, switch to the microphone, and start with Coach Paul.
No, it's always tough. Immediately after games, sort of diagnose things. Did things look different when you saw it on film on Sunday?
No, I mean, kids played hard. We gave a couple, big plays away, and after that, you took 3 plays out of the game. The first touchdown pass, the halfback pass or the double pass, then they had off a penalty they threw to the tight end down the middle of the field. I think that was 178 yards in 3 plays. They had 300 and I forget what it was. In the other 97, they had 338 plays. So it came up to 4 yards a play, which, against that kind of offense, you're going to get that. We can't have the big plays. The kids played hard. You eliminate the explosive plays. I think they really had one drive on us when it was all said and done. And, I'm not saying that that's a consolation because I still think we didn't play as sharp as we needed to, but we played extremely hard, and that's a tough environment to play. We talked as a staff. I think we played like we wanted to win. Syracuse played like they needed to win, and I think there's a difference right there. And we've got to go play this weekend like we need to win. That's the bottom line. But the kids played hard, and that style of offense. It's hard to just smother people. If you play man coverage, they're going to isolate you to the field and go 50-50 balls. You guys have seen that against East Carolina, people like that in the past. We were trying to mix up a couple different coverages, and I think, it's going to aggravate you. I thought, we did some things to drop 8. I saw somebody's post that, the quarterback rushed for 100 yards. Their quarterback, they had a couple quarterback draws that were, adequate plays, but they had the quarterback scrambled, when we were dropping 8 sometimes, and had some good rush on him. We've also stopped a bunch of running quarterbacks over the time too, but that's just part of the nature of the game nowadays. When they're spreading you out, they're spreading your defenders out. If you want to play, a variety of coverages, and the quarterback is obviously if he is a running threat, then that is an issue when it's all said and done. So hopefully at times you can keep him contained and but their guy did a nice job. I thought he played his best football game this past Saturday.
What do you think led to so much success for them on 3rd and 4th down?
A lot of short yards. We were in a lot of where the quarterback kind of had a couple of games, but we just need to be a little bit more aggressive on in some of those situations. You had empty. We were in man. We gave up the inside a couple of times, which is what you're not supposed to do. We brought pressure. We played coverage. We did it all. I mean, it was just kind of a mix right there, you know, when it was all said and done. So, you know, they hit their share. We did enough good things. I mean, what you guys have seen, what we did the first few weeks. That's pretty elite. I don't know if you can do that every week when it's all. Be honest with you, and you know, and that's part of it. You know, I'd like to say we go out and smother people every week, but that's not what you do. And you know, in Syracuse, I felt like going into the game they had some dynamic receivers, and I thought they were a little bit of a mix of East Carolina and North Carolina as far as talent-wise, and probably even a little bit more explosive after playing against them. I thought 3 was Switzer, but with juice. You know, I thought he had, and I felt that going in, and he showed that in our game too.
Cheryl, you don't have to remind your guys what happened here a couple of years ago against Miami, but does it help some of your more veteran players on your side of the ball to kind of turn the page from Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, you know, this last week was disappointing, and the one thing that we have to do is turn the page and move forward. I mean, we got a big-time football game ahead of us, and we still control where we want to go, but we got to control one at a time. That's got to be our sole focus, our sole. That's where our energy needs to be placed on, and that's what we've got to do from here on out. It's one at a time. Don't worry about anything else. And but we've got a big-time opponent. You got a team that's coming in here that's wounded from from 2 losses back-to-back, that in order for them to get back in the mix, they've got to play, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, wounded animal backed up in a corner a little bit. They're going to play their best football. And got a lot of respect for Miami. I know they got a new staff, but at the same time, I got utmost respect for Mark Richt and the type of program that he's run in the past. And you know, it's been a while since we've competed against him. You know, we were last time, I guess, Chick-fil-A Bowl, but then, you know, prior to that, Florida State teams. You know, very dynamic group of athletes. Miami's still Miami, and they've lost a couple tough ones. And, you know, they got a really talented football team. We got to go play very, very well. But, yeah, we don't need to remind them a whole lot. You know, we just need to, you can put on the tape, but they've got those kind of athletes. And even though Duke Johnson's gone, their 2 running backs right now are every bit as good as he is, and very impressive.
You've seen Kaya a little bit now, obviously a much different quarterback than what you just saw. What makes him unique?
Well, he's a drop-back style guy. He's got, you know, good arm. You know, he's a pro-style guy that can throw it from one hash to the sideline. He's arm strength. You know, he's a big-time talent.
Coach, have you had a chance to break down the video on Miami yet? And besides Brad Kaya, what do they do, especially towards the outside, that your DBs are going to have to worry about?
Well, you know, Miami has always had great team speed, and particularly at the skill positions. And I don't see any difference right now. You know, you've got a core of guys that can take you deep, core guys that can, after the catch, can create big plays. They'll get them not just throwing it vertical, they'll get them in quick screens and things of that nature and have the ability to run after the catch. They like their tight ends, and I think they're extremely talented players too. They'll split them out and try to create mismatches. They're big kids that are in that 6'4", 6'5" range, but run very, very well. They'll use a lot of 12 personnel as in, you know, 3 to 4 wide looks. And their running backs are going to get the ball to the backs. I mean, not just in handing them off, but in little checkdowns. And they're just very explosive and talented in space. And we've got to do a great job, if they do get the ball out to them, of converging and taking away, you know, seams and lanes in as far as, you know, running lanes, that type of thing after the catch.
Coach, you've been a part of several Thursday night games, particularly at Lane Stadium, and, you know, Virginia Tech's known for those Thursday night games. Just talk about that experience of playing and having Thursday night games here at Lane Stadium.
Well, it's pretty exciting, and obviously we've been the Thursday night darling, you know, when this whole thing started years and years ago. But, you know, at the end of the day, what makes it exciting is how we play the game, and that's what we've really got to go do. You know, we're going to have a great turnout. It should be a great atmosphere, you know, second to none. But when it's all said and done, those people will have an impact as far as crowd noise, and we need to, have that. But at the same time, it's going to be 11 on 11 on the field, and that's where we've got to focus on and really lock in a short week. Really make sure we're tuned in with our game plan, with our execution of the game plan, and then our efforts and passion playing the game, and that'll take care of itself. And then hopefully that the crowd will be a factor in it as well. But I love playing on Thursday nights, especially at home. Like I said, it's a great atmosphere, second to none here at Virginia Tech, and we're excited about the opportunity.
Final question to Ricky.
After the loss of Syracuse, what's the mood or the psyche of the team right now?
They were very disappointed, which is what you want it to be. Very disappointed. And that probably says it all. And we're looking forward. The good thing is it's this week is, today for us is Tuesday, and yesterday was Monday and Sunday all in one, and very short nights for us, and but a short week, which is fine. You get to forget about that one and move forward, and so that's a good thing.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thank y'all.
Woody, a couple guys have come in here before and said can't dwell on the loss and have to move on to the next one. How do you, as a senior, kind of get this team in that mindset, get them thinking that way?
I think we've done a good job of just realizing that the next game's coming upon us and that the next team doesn't feel bad for us. I know we had to do the same thing after the Bristol game, our previous loss. And just moving forward and, really approaching the next week, trying to get a W.
In a short week like this, do you do anything to condense down your preparation or your therapy time, anything like that, because you only have a couple of days to get ready for Miami?
There are a couple things that are condensed as far as the team preparation. Like practice, of course, you're only going to get really 3 to 4 solid days of practice. As far as therapy and like my individual preparation, it's not so much condensed. You just try to get in what you need to in a shorter amount of time.
How much have you maybe been able to see of Miami on film, and how do they differ or are alike to Syracuse defensively?
I got to look at them a little bit, and they're just what I thought. An athletic team across the board. They got guys in the box that they can run with, play action, and throw the ball. So they look like a very good team, like I'm used to, a very capable team.
After the loss, what was kind of the psyche of the team? What was the mood around the locker room?
Yeah, right immediately after the game, it was definitely a sour feeling. We lost. It was an ugly loss, but we knew that Miami was coming to town. Excuse me. And they're not going to feel bad for us, so we had to turn the page.
Hey, Woody, when you wake up on a normal Thursday, when you have a Saturday game coming up, how do you normally feel? I mean, are you still feeling some nicks and bruises from the previous week's game? I'm just curious if the condensed time makes it more physically difficult as well as mentally and all that.
Right. On a normal Thursday, we're kind of taking the pads off, and it's just kind of a mental practice day. You're feeling pretty good from the week prior to. This week, a little bit more condensed, but Coach Hilgar and the strength staff are going to have us ready to go. I'm sure I'm going to feel great, which would be tomorrow, I guess, or Wednesday preceding this game.
Raise your hands. We'll get you the microphone for Woody. Any other questions? Aaron?
How do you spend a Thursday leading up to the game? Like this Thursday, how would you? I guess you got meetings and things like that, but I mean, do you sleep a little later, or do you take time to do some relaxing at any point?
Right. We're going to be at the hotel in Roanoke, and I'm sure they're going to try to make it as close to a Saturday as possible. So.
Dennis?
Woody, is it good to play right away after a loss, or will you miss that Thursday and Friday kind of downtime before you would play a normal Saturday game? But are you eager to get out there and play on a Thursday?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a great opportunity. You don't have to wait a full week, especially coming after a loss, to kind of get that bad taste out of your mouth. But it's just that. It's an opportunity for both teams. And, one team's going to come out feeling better about themselves, and another team's going to have their back against the wall. So we just got to prepare, and hopefully we'll be victorious.
Do you have any memories of the loss 2 years ago to Miami on a Thursday night? I know it was a blowout loss. Has that come up in the locker room at all among the leaders of the team, trying to get revenge at all, or is that just you're focused on this team this year?
Right. We definitely, the older guys who were here for that game, remember what it was in Lane Thursday night on national television. But, as far as the team right now, it's a whole different team than it was 2 years ago for both sides. And, we're just trying to prepare the best we can to get this W on Thursday.